It's Sophie Little here with you for your Friday night show. This is the part of the show where we hand over the music to somebody else who takes the reins and takes us on a journey. It's the community playlist. And in charge tonight, we have author, musician, and the first sight-impaired climber of 3 mountains, Deborah Rosen. Deborah, hello.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me on.
Oh, thanks for coming on. Tell us a bit about yourself.
Well, the introduction was perfect, I guess. I'm currently an author. I'm writing my 3rd book, which is a parallel to some of Charles Babbage's works in 1830. I used to be a climber for a short period of time where I did climb with a visual impairment. And I'm also a singer of a few different languages, so I love to engage with the rest of the world. So I'm really looking forward to sharing music from the rest of the world with you all.
Fantastic. I'm very excited about this playlist tonight and seeing where you take us, and looking forward to getting to know you more this hour as well. But what's your first choice musically for us then?
Well, my first choice would have to be I'm Good by Phil Emon, who is from Rwanda. His music is very beautiful. I think you'll enjoy it. It's very uplifting. So I think we should go for that.
Okay, let's press play.
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. This is crazy. Kununangi you crazy. Singapura base, nanugu mofukuru sura cash. Amadeni image, na sweetheart kumbura kenshi. But I won't stress myself, bavuga kukuwa wadili mei. So I feel good, I feel cool, I feel good and cool. Yeah. So I feel good, I feel cool, I feel good and cool. I'm good, I'm feeling cool and looking good. I'm good, I feel alright, yes I'm alive. I'm good, I'm feeling good and looking good. I'm good, I feel alright, yes I'm alive. If it wasn't yours and she's a ass, I only want to be happy. I just want to have fun. Okay, yeah. Nugo na ruwa mbele, aliko sindi naona usembele. I always choose to celebrate. So I feel good, I feel cool, I feel good and cool. Yeah, I feel good, I feel cool, I feel good and cool. Yeah, I'm good, I'm feeling cool and looking good. I'm good, I feel alright, yes I'm alive. I'm good, I'm feeling good and looking good. I'm good, I feel alright, yes I'm alive. I'm good, I'm feeling cool and looking good. I'm good, I feel alright, yes I'm alive. I'm good, I'm feeling good and looking good. I'm good, I feel alright, yes I'm alive.
barimo amafaranga yarabuze ntawe nzishyura kugeza igihe bose bikorakoranyije. Amafaranga yarabuze.
Phil Emon and I'm Good on BBC Radio Norfolk and BBC Radio Suffolk. That was chosen by Deborah Rosen, who is doing our community playlist tonight, aren't you, Deborah?
Yes, indeed.
So I loved that. Great way to start. What is coming next and why?
Well, the next song is very beautiful. It's called Adi Mera. It's by Yared Nagu, who is from Ethiopia. And this is a very beautiful song because it's all about meeting family members and old friends after a very long time. And interestingly enough, this song is often used to describe the joy that families feel when they reunite with one another, particularly after the civil war which split Ethiopia and Eritrea. So it's all about people coming back together, reunifying, and sharing love with one another after many years.
That's beautiful. Let's take a listen. Adimara by Yared Nagu, chosen by my guest this hour who's doing our community playlist, Deborah Rosen. I'm loving this playlist so far, Deborah.
Oh, I'm so glad about that.
Tell me about yourself as a musician.
Well, I'm perhaps an unusual musician. My foundation was principally in classical music. So I spent my early years playing the violin and learning to sing in different languages through opera. So beginning with Latin and Italian, French, German, and English. And as I grew up, I had a lot of influences from different languages and different cultures. And so I came to know a lot of other songs and a lot of other countries' popular music. So for me, it's a very personal experience as much as it is an international one.
And what are you doing at the moment musically?
At the moment, musically, I'm actually looking to join a new orchestra, which should be very fun. I've been working with a symphony orchestra, which has been very exciting, playing works from Johannes Brahms. I find that the music is very technically difficult, but also has lots of aspects that are very full of emotion and passion for the music. I think Brahms puts that across beautifully as a composer. So you don't have to do too much work to make the music sound wonderful.
Amazing. I've got so many questions to ask you as well, not just about your music, but about your climbing and about you as an author as well. But we do have most of this hour together, so I'll save some for a little while. Let's get some more music first, though. What would you like to play next?
Of course, I'd love to play Midnight Train by Sauti Sol, and they are from Kenya. They are a group. So you'll hear English and Swahili in this piece. And this song really is about their own view of being Christian in many respects and their view of it living in Kenya. I think religion looks different in different places and it means different things to different people. And I thought it's a very beautiful description of how they feel about their religion. So I think it's one you'll very much enjoy.
Let's take a listen.
Tunapita kama moshi na kabla tuzame mchangani, kuna kushinda na kufeli. Inabidi ujijue tofauti ya mwalimu na mwanafunzi ni ujuzi na ujuaji. Oh, it's unbelievable that we make it this far. Undeniable, we see the promised land from afar, and it's so beautiful. No, they can't touch the fire, and you know it's not in vain. Steady tripping through the pain. Oh, yeah. Steady rocking on the midnight train. Steady rocking on the midnight train. Oh Lord, oh Lord, steady rocking on the midnight train. Steady rocking on the midnight train. On the midnight train. Siku zazidi badilika, mengi yazidi kunipita jama. Oh no, maji yalipozidi unga, hawakudhani tutafika. It's unbelievable that we made it this far. Undeniable to see the promised land from afar. So beautiful, they gon' know who we are. They keep on walking in the rain. Kuna blessings in the pain. Whoa. Steady rocking on the midnight train. Steady, ready, ready, ready. Steady rocking on the midnight train. Oh Lord, steady rocking on the midnight train. To Zion, to Zion, Zion. on the midnight train. Oh, steady rocking on the midnight train. To Zion, to Zion, to Zion, to Zion. Steady rocking on the midnight train. Steady rocking on the midnight train. Oh Lord, steady rocking on the midnight train. To Zion, to Zion.
Salty Soul and Midnight Train on BBC Radio Suffolk and BBC Radio Norfolk. This is the community playlist with Deborah Rosen tonight, who's choosing all the tunes. Deborah, can I talk to you about you climbing mountains? Because you've climbed 3 of them, possibly more. I might not know about some of the others. Tell me about you as a climber and how it all came about.
Well, I was definitely influenced by my father, who loves climbing and particularly enjoyed mixed climbing in the Alps. So when I was very small, I was already learning to climb in climbing walls and things like that. Then as I started to get a bit older and a bit more confident, I would then begin in climbing gardens, which we call klettergarten. And climbing gardens are essentially small cliffs, to put it strangely. They're very small cliffs, and you learn your outdoor skills, dealing with outdoor rock, of course, limestone and granite and different kinds of rock. They feel different, they behave differently. So this was really perfect for me as a young climber. And then I took on my first 3 mountains, and all 3 of them, it turned out, hadn't been climbed by visually impaired people. They were mainly rock mountains, and all of them were over 8,000 feet, so between 8,000 and 8,470 feet, I think.
Wow. What kind of a challenge was that for you?
I think in many respects, I didn't necessarily process some of those challenges in full. There were issues that I had with discovering the contrast of the rock. So in order to know where to put your hands, where there might be somewhere that you can lean on, you need to have some idea of contrast in order to see, yes, there's a shadow there that tells me that something's jutting out that I could hold on to. This wasn't something I could rely on. Usually I couldn't see that. So my process really was one of feeling. I could feel on the end of my rope the direction that my climbing teacher was going in, and I would be able to follow the patterns based on how the rope felt as they moved up. And I could also ascertain where good handholds were, actually principally by feeling as opposed to looking for things. So the challenges were manageable on the ascent. On the descent, I found it very difficult because coming down, and sometimes you've got to come across scree slopes, you've got to go quite fast, downhill motion. That can be very complicated when you know you can't really see. And if you're on an incline and you look ahead and you've got my sort of vision, you can't see the floor, so you can't see where your feet are or where they're going. So those things did pose challenges, but they certainly didn't stop me from doing what I wanted to do.
Wow. What did it feel like after you'd scaled all 3?
Wonderful. And I think it gave me a lot of confidence to say, if I can keep my mind under control in such a circumstance, just think what else I could achieve in the future. It's taught me so many skills with regard to reconnaissance, understanding how to plan for something, recognizing and accepting levels of risk, and then actually executing the plan without planning and saying, oh yes, that would be a very nice idea. I was able to teach myself to go through the planning stage, the training phase, and then go and complete the task that I set out to complete. And sometimes just completing a difficult task is enough to convince you that you can complete other tasks.
Do you have other tasks, i.e. mountains, that you have on your agenda for the future?
I think I would very much like to climb again. It's not something that I do very much at the moment. But I guess in my mind, one of the mountains I would really love to conquer would be the Wetterhorn, as it's a mountain I just loved looking up at as a child from the valleys and always imagined what it might be like to stand on top of it. And it's not perhaps the most dangerous or difficult mountain out there, but to me it's one of the prettiest.
Amazing. Well, hopefully we'll be speaking one day after you have done that and asking you how you felt stood atop it. So what are we going to be listening to next on this playlist?
Well, next is Bakit Ba Ikaw, which is by Michael Pangilinan. He is from the Philippines. Now, many of my best friends and closest comrades in my life are from the Philippines, and this song means so much to them, and it's come to mean so much to me. It's about a man who has fallen in love with someone, and he's thinking, why is it always you? It's always you in every moment that I would rather be with. So it's very, very beautiful. I think you'll all enjoy it.
Masilayan, tinataglay mong kagandahan. Di na maawat ang pusong sa'yo ay magmahal. Laman ka ng puso at isipan, di na kita maiiwasan. Pag-ibig ko sana ay pagbigyan. Bakit ba ikaw na iisip ko at di na mawala-wala ka? Kahit na alam ko na ang puso mo ay may mahal na ngang iba. Ayaw ng paawat ng aking damdamin, tunay na mahal ka na. Sana'y hayaan mong ibigin kita. Maghihintay pa rin at aasa. Masaya ka ba pag siya ang kasama? Di mo na ba ako naaalala? Mukha mo ay bakit di ko malimot-limot pa? Laman ko ng puso at isipan, di na kita maiiwasan. Pag-ibig ko sana ay pagbigyan. Bakit ba ikaw na iisip ko at di na mawala-wala pa? Kahit na alam ko na ang puso mo ay may mahal na ngang iba. Ayaw ng paawat ng aking damdamin, tunay na mahal ka na. Sana'y hayaan mong
You're listening to your Friday night show on BBC Radio Suffolk and BBC Radio Norfolk with me, Sophia Little. It's the community playlist at the moment, so all of the tunes you're hearing at the moment are chosen by my guest, author, musician and climber, Deborah Rosen. That was a really beautiful track. No wonder your friends love it.
I think so too.
It's very nice. What are we going to have next then on this playlist, Deborah?
I think it would be good to skip over to Tere Bhajan by Sunny Hindustani, who is from India. Now, Sunny Hindustani came from a very humble background, and he had this beautiful singing voice, and he attended Indian Idol in hopes of being able to afford food. He ended up winning Indian Idol, and he is now very well known across Pakistan, Bangladesh, India, and other parts of Asia. His music has very traditional hints to it, but this particular song is so beautiful, and it's another beautiful love song, so you're all going to love it, I'm sure.
I'm loving the love songs, Deborah. Let's take a listen.
This particular song is so beautiful, being able to afford food. Tere Bhajan by Sunny Hindustani, who is from India. Now, Sunny Hindustani came from a very humble background, and he had this beautiful singing voice, and he attended Indian Idol in hopes of being able to afford food. He ended up winning Indian Idol, and he is now very well known across Pakistan, Bangladesh, India, and other parts of Asia. His music has very traditional hints to it, but this particular song is so beautiful, and it's another beautiful love song, so you're all going to love it, I'm sure.
I'm loving the love songs, Deborah. Let's take a listen.
ਕਿੰਨੀ ਹੈ ਬੀਤੀ ਤੇ ਕਿੰਨੀ ਹੈ ਬਾਕੀ ਮੈਂ ਉਮਰਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਬਦਨਾਮ ਬੜਾ ਹਾਂ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਦੀ ਠੋਕਰ ਮੈਂ ਰੁਲਦਾ ਅੱਜ ਤੇਰੇ ਦਰ ਤੇ ਆਨ ਖੜਾ ਹਾਂ ਅੱਜ ਤੇਰੇ ਦਰ ਤੇ ਆਨ ਖੜਾ ਹਾਂ
ਨਾ ਸੱਸੀ ਨਾ ਮੈਂ ਹੀਰ ਵੇ ਤੂੰ ਹੀ ਤਾਂ ਮੇਰੀ ਤਕਦੀਰ ਵੇ ਤਕਦੀਰ ਵੇ ਤਕਦੀਰ ਵੇ ਨਾ ਸੱਸੀ ਨਾ ਮੈਂ ਹੀਰ ਵੇ ਤੂੰ ਹੀ ਮੇਰੀ ਤਕਦੀਰ ਵੇ ਨਾ ਸੱਸੀ ਨਾ ਮੈਂ ਹੀਰ ਵੇ ਤੂੰ ਹੀ ਮੇਰੀ ਤਕਦੀਰ ਵੇ ਓ ਨਾ ਮੈਂ ਸੱਸੀ ਨਾ ਮੈਂ ਸੋਹਣੀ ਹੀਰ ਵੇ ਸੋਹਣਿਆ ਮੈਂ ਤੇਰੀ ਤਕਦੀਰ ਵੇ ਔਖਾ ਇਸ਼ਕ ਦਾ ਪੈਂਡਾ ਵੇ ਔਖਾ ਇਸ਼ਕ ਦਾ ਪੈਂਡਾ ਵੇ ਦਿਲ ਵੱਟ ਜਾਨ ਮੰਗਦਾ ਔਖਾ ਇਸ਼ਕ ਦਾ ਪੈਂਡਾ ਵੇ ਦਿਲ ਵੱਟ ਜਾਨ ਮੰਗਦਾ ਮੁੜਿਆ ਪਰਦੇਸਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਮੁੜਿਆ ਪਰਦੇਸਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਮੁੜਿਆ ਪਰਦੇਸਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਤੇਰੇ ਬਾਝੋਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਮੇਰਾ ਦਿਲ ਤੇਰੇ ਬਾਝੋਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਮੇਰਾ ਦਿਲ ਮੇਰਾ ਦਿਲ
ਅੱਖੀਆਂ 'ਚ ਤੇਰੀ ਮੈਂ ਡੁੱਬਦਾ ਜਾਵਾਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਬਾਝੋਂ ਵੀਰਾਨ ਬੜਾ ਹਾਂ ਅਥਰੂ ਬਣ ਕੇ ਤੇ ਡੁੱਲ ਨਾ ਜਾਵਾਂ ਬਸ ਇਹ ਸੋਚ ਕੇ ਪਰੇਸ਼ਾਨ ਬੜਾ ਹਾਂ ਪੱਕੀ ਵਾਲੇ ਤੇ ਹੈਰਾਨ ਬੜਾ ਹਾਂ
ਹਰ ਵੇਲੇ ਕਰਾਂ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਯਾਦ ਵੇ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਦੱਸਾਂ ਦਿਲ ਦਾ ਮੈਂ ਹਾਲ ਵੇ ਕਰਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਯਾਰ ਕਰਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਯਾਰ ਕਰਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਯਾਰ ਹਰ ਵੇਲੇ ਕਰਾਂ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਯਾਦ ਵੇ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਦੱਸਾਂ ਦਿਲ ਦਾ ਮੈਂ ਹਾਲ ਵੇ ਪਾਣੀ ਡੁੱਲਦਾ ਏ ਅੱਖੀਆਂ ਚੋਂ ਪਾਣੀ ਡੁੱਲਦਾ ਏ ਅੱਖੀਆਂ ਚੋਂ ਦਿਲ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੜ ਚੱਲਦਾ ਪਾਣੀ ਡੁੱਲਦਾ ਏ ਅੱਖੀਆਂ ਚੋਂ ਦਿਲ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੜ ਚੱਲਦਾ ਮੁੜਿਆ 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 ਪਰਦੇਸਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਮੁੜਿਆ ਪਰਦੇਸਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਮੁੜਿਆ ਪਰਦੇਸਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਤੇਰੇ ਬਾਝੋਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਮੇਰਾ ਦਿਲ ਤੇਰੇ ਬਾਝੋਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਮੇਰਾ ਦਿਲ ਮੇਰਾ ਦਿਲ ਮੇਰਾ ਦਿਲ ਤੇਰੇ ਬਾਝੋਂ ਤੇਰੇ ਬਾਝੋਂ ਤੇਰੇ ਬਾਝੋਂ ਤੇਰੇ ਬਾਝੋਂ ਤੇਰੇ
Sunny Hindustani on BBC Radio Suffolk and BBC Radio Norfolk. It's your Friday night show with me, Sophie Little. It's the community playlist at the moment, so the tunes you're hearing are chosen by Deborah Rosen, who's my guest. Deborah, yeah, another great choice and really beautiful track. I love how that builds as well.
Yes, it's definitely a traditional way of building timbre and texture within the song. So it's a very special one, I think.
We've got some more tunes coming from you this hour. Before we jump into another, can I talk a bit about you as a writer? When did you start writing? What does it mean to you?
I started writing only about a year and a half ago. And I've published 2 books since then. They were both actually fiction books, but they were really a preparation for my 3rd book, a test to see if I could really produce something that I was proud of. I've been taking notes since I was about 7 years old, and these are observations that are generationally specific to find commonalities across socioeconomic structures and backgrounds in England, and those common struggles that Gen Z in particular struggle with. The reason I've done that is I'm a direct descendant of the Babbages. Now, Charles Babbage, he wrote Reflections on the Decline of Science in England in 1830. So my parallel is Reflections on the Decline of Belief in Science. This really covers why Gen Z have lost their faith in systems, and they use the internet, and so they struggle to find who is a true expert, who to believe, who not to believe. And so really I want to put it across almost as a list of observations and possible causations. I usually do a lot of my writing using accessibility features. Now, Apple products are fantastic for this. So I use an iPad, which is a bit larger. I also use their larger text features, and I can use a screen reader and magnifiers to help me uncover where I may have made a typo or a mistake, and the screen readers are particularly good for that.
That's amazing. I mean, just, wow, what a subject to tackle as well. I also just find it amazing that you decided to write 2 books just to warm up for this as well. That's amazing. Tell me a little bit about those 2 books.
Well, my first book was a little bit of a story about the Celts and the Vikings of ancient Scotland. So it covered a Viking family moving to Scotland and discovering ancient Celtic gods that they have a history and a past with, and discovering how to appease those gods who are very angry that they've taken over the area. The second book was much different, actually, far more modern, and covered a story of a young lady who goes to Austria as a diplomat and uncovers a group who are hoping to reinstate the Austro-Hungarian Empire. And she has to, using her best historical knowledge, try to track who is where and why, and how she can put a stop to the progression of this particular gang.
Where can people read these? They've been published. Are they out there?
They are out there. Principally, my focus now is on my non-fiction works, but O Vienna, for example, is available on Amazon, so you can pick it up there.
Fab. And what's it like going back to the text of your 3 times great grandfather? Am I right in saying that, Charles Babbage?
Yes, most likely. It wasn't too unfamiliar to me. There's a lot of people in my family that speak in a very similar way and have a very similar inflection almost when they write. And I was really surprised at how much I could see in myself in his own works. And that's something that's sometimes been said to me as I was growing up, but not something I really could envisage. But when I read his works, I very much agreed with certain things and could really understand where he was coming from. I mean, granted, I would hope that I'm far more diplomatic, but nonetheless, I think a lot of his points with regards to the education system in particular are not mad comments, and I think a lot of them hold weight, particularly in 2022.
So very interesting. I feel like we're learning a lot about you. Tell me what we're going to listen to next from this beautifully curated playlist you've done for us.
Sure. Well, I think we should listen to Enter Her, which is by Balkis Fatti. She is from the UAE. Originally, her heritage is from Yemen, I believe. And she has written this song as almost as if she's just talking about a breakup, that she's over it and she's moved on. But actually, if you look more closely at the song, she's discussing those who might put you down or those who don't believe in you and learning not to assign weight to people's comments. So when she says, enter her, it's all over, she's not just saying that about a breakup, for example. She's saying, it's over. I'm not going to take people's unkind comments. I am going to go forward in the best way I know how.
Amazing. Let's take a listen to this.
راح مفروض أعاني من جراح، بالعكس أحس بارتياح، ليتها من أول ما ابتعد البال ما صدق يروح، ما فيني حتى ذرة شوق، مو مثل ما كنت أعتقد. انتهى لحب نكرهها، قلبي معي لها وحبني بدون حيل، ولو علي ما يطري هم علي، لو ما في غيره حيرجع له مستحيل. انتهى لحب نكرهها، قلبي معي لها وحبني بدون حيل، ولو علي ما يطري هم علي، لو ما في غيره حيرجع له مستحيل. نفرض تركني بلا سبب، الحب مو غصب، مو كل من نبي نلقى السعادة في نعافي قلبي وما بغى، فوريا اللغة سهلة ما عليه من دون كيف وليه خير، لأني أحب شفته غير، ما عد بعيوني أمير، مدام ما عدني قصار. لا عنسان ما توقف حياة، أما أني أتهوى وراه، الأظلم منه ما قدر. انتهى لحب نكرهه، قلبي معي له وحبني بدون حيل، ولو علي ما يطري هم علي، لو ما في غيره حيرجع له مستحيل. انتهى لحب نكرهه، قلبي معي له وحبني بدون حيل، ولو علي ما يطري هم علي، لو ما في غيره حيرجع له مستحيل.
Sophie Little, BBC.
Radio Norfolk.
Gabsi mir wenigstens Vorwahl. Per favore. Ja. Ey, per favore. Oh, gabsi mir wenigstens Vorwahl. Per favore. Det gab's nummer 10 Millionen Kombinationen, ja.
Nu slipper nynnet jeg sagde. Du ved ikke nå nyt at jeg sagde. Nyt må kysse at jeg sagde. Og ni frågar siger ikke er det dyt at jeg sagde. Dyt. Nu slipper nynnet jeg sagde. Du ved ikke nå nyt at jeg sagde. Nyt må kysse at jeg sagde. Og ni frågar siger ikke er det dyt at jeg sagde. Ich lüte jeden Tag eine Auskunft an und möchte ihre Nummer haben. Wer läutet heute noch der Auskunft an? Viel arbeiten nicht mehr da, nur noch sie und noch 2 andere. Heisst jedes dritte Mal ist sie dran. Sie gibt mir jede Nummer, eine Nummer. Ihre gibt sie mir nicht, gab sie mir wenig wenigstens Vorwahl. Per favore. Da gäb's nur noch 10 Millionen Kombinationen, ja. Und wenn ich nachher pro Minute 3 von den Nummern ausprobiere, dann können's maximal nur 6,5 Jahre lang gehen, bis ihre Finger nur 7, 9 hat sie gesagt. Du weisst immer noch nichts, hat sie gesagt. Nicht mal Tschüss, hat sie gesagt, ey. Und ich frage sie, ob ich ihre Tüt, hat sie gesagt, Tüt. Nur 7, 9 hat sie gesagt. Du weisst immer noch nichts, hat sie gesagt. Nicht mal Tschüss, hat sie gesagt, ey. Und ich frage sie, ob ich ihre Tüt, hat sie gesagt, Tüt.
Und jetzt bin ich seit Jahren immer falsch verbunden. Und am Schluss bleibt mir tatsächlich nur eine Nummer, nur noch eine Nummer, wo ich die eintippe mit zittrigen Fingern. Und ich mir sicher bin, dass die doch muss stimmen. Hör ich plötzlich, dass jemand dran ist. Und wegen dem hör ich das Tram nicht, wo noch nicht bremsen, aber es lenkt lang nicht. Es rennen Leute her und alles verlangsamt sich. 144, haben sie gesagt. Wie ist das nur mal passiert? Haben sie gesagt, du hast hier, haben sie gesagt, ja. Und sie winken die Ambulanz her, haben sie gesagt, hier. 144, haben sie gesagt. Wie ist das nur mal passiert? Haben sie gesagt, du hast hier, haben sie gesagt, ja. Und sie winken die Ambulanz her, haben sie gesagt, yeah.
It's the community playlist on your Friday night show with me, Sophie Little. The tunes that were chosen by Deborah Rosen, who is my guest this evening. Deborah, what was that we just heard?
That was 079 or Nosy Benoon by Lo und Leduk. They are from Switzerland. And I grew up spending a lot of my summers in the Swiss Alps with family. And so I just adore Swiss German. And I think it's such an underheard language. So it's lovely to hear that particular dialect.
How many languages do you speak?
I'm not entirely sure because I can use Latin roots from things to understand a number of languages. And I often surprise myself by being able to respond to people. So I'm not entirely sure. But I can speak Swiss German with a fair proficiency. Obviously, I can speak English. I speak a small amount of French. And I used to speak a lot more of Luganda, Swahili, and Kinyarwanda. And I also spent a small amount of time in South Africa where I was able to begin learning Zulu and Xhosa.
Amazing. Oh, Deborah, you're very fascinating, and it's been great to have you on the community playlist. We've got 2 tracks left from you tonight. What is your penultimate choice?
My penultimate choice is Bebe by MHD. MHD is MHD. He is from France. He has a heritage from Senegal. And this is a beautiful song. He is effectively saying that he wants his future wife to understand that it's just her opinions that matter to him and not the opinions of those that might gossip about them. So it's rather sweet, really. He's showing her that he really just cares about her and not the people that have other things to say about them.
Okay, let's press play on this, and then we'll see what your last choice is.
J'ai commencé ma vie sans toi, j'ai pas terminé sans toi. On se quitte pour se retrouver et ça recommence à chaque fois. Y'a pas de seconde chance avec toi, moi j'ai trop parlé. Des petits caprices tout le temps que j'ai pris sur moi. Elle se rappelle de chaque seconde, des premiers rendez-vous qu'on se faisait en zoom. Elle dit que je fais l'effet d'une bombe, elle est prête à me suivre même dans ma tombe. Mais parle pas d'amour dans ma vie, j'ai trop donné. J'ai le cœur trop dur pour ça, faut me pardonner. Et dans sa tête c'est cafou, cafou. Va pas plus loin, ton cœur c'est moi et c'est tout, c'est tout. Tes copines me regardent trop chelou, chelou. De haut en bas, comme un pas de danse de cachou, cachou.
On cherche à nous barrer la route. Écouter les gens c'est douloureux. Je veux même pas savoir qui te parle. C'est moi qui te parle. Le couple c'est nous deux. Arrête un peu de vivre pour eux. Trouve un juste milieu. N'écoute pas les gens qui te parlent. Quand c'est moi qui te parle. Le couple c'est nous deux. Ah mon bébé. 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 Bébé bébé. Ah mon 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 bébé. Bébé bébé. Ah mon bébé. Tout se passe mieux, commence d'abord par grandir. Tu poses les mêmes questions 100 fois, ça va mal finir. Si t'écoutes tout le monde, nous deux, ça va pas durer. C'est toi qui vas donner la force à nos ennemis. Dans toutes les bouches, c'est d'ajout, d'ajout. Tu n'as pas compris que là-bas, c'est tous des jaloux, jaloux. Les gens qui parlent sont partout, partout. De gauche à droite, comme un pas de danse de chabou, chabou. On cherche à nous barrer la route. Écouter les gens, c'est douloureux. Je veux même pas savoir qui te parle. C'est moi qui te parle. Le couple, c'est nous deux. Arrête un peu de vivre pour eux. Trouve un juste milieu. N'écoute pas les gens qui te parlent. Quand c'est moi qui te parle. Le couple, c'est nous deux. Ah mon bébé. 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 Bébé bébé. Ah mon 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 bébé. Bébé bébé. Ah mon bébé.
Ma bébé, laisse-les parler. T'es ma lumière, y'a que toi qui me fait briller. Eh ma bébé, laisse-les parler. T'es ma lumière, y'a que toi qui me fait briller. Ah mon bébé. 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 Bébé bébé. Ah mon 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 bébé. Bébé bébé. Ah mon bébé.
We've just about come to the end of our community playlist tonight on your Friday night show with me, Sophie Little. The playlist has been all down to Deborah Rosen, and what a wild hour it's been. It's been amazing. We've had so many different tracks from all over the world, and they've been varied and very, very beautiful is the thing they've had in common. Deborah, it's been great spending time with you as well. Anybody that wants to follow you and your work and your writing, do you have somewhere online that they can do that?
Of course, you can find me at my personal account on Instagram, which is d.a.babbage. Feel free to send a request.
Fab. It's been lovely to have you on the show. What are you going to end your community playlist with?
Well, I would like to end with Come and See My Mother, which is it's actually by Yemi Alade and NZV, who are from Nigeria and Ghana. And this is a song that says, if you would like to date me, if you want to take me seriously, you've got to go back to my home country, you've got to meet my mother, and she must approve of you, or it just won't happen.
Amazing. Deborah, what a way to end. Thank you very much. And we'll catch you on the show again soon, I'm sure. Here we go then.
Come
If you want to tidy me and do what you want, then hurry, hurry, come carry your baby, go. Come and see my mother. My mother. You must see my mother. My mother. Come and see my mother. Hey. My mother. You must see my mother. My mother.
Sophie Little.